Saif here, and welcome to another episode of Silicon and Steel. This here is an early 2011 Apple MacBook Pro. I've had it for a few years now, and as of late it's starting to get a little bit slow, not having enough RAM now that I've installed the parallels on it. So today I'm going to be upgrading it from 4 gigabytes of RAM, which it comes installed with, to 8 gigabytes of RAM. So to start, I picked up Crucial brand RAM. This was about $100 for 8 gigs. And after doing some searching and reading through some reviews, this is probably one of the most reliable companies and types of brands that you can get. So here it is. And I know a lot of people think that you shouldn't do stuff with your MacBook Pros, and in a lot of cases that's right. If you haven't done any sort of work with it before, then maybe you want someone else to do this. And especially with the newer ones, when they started soldering the components into the motherboard so you can't really do anything, it's not worth it. But this is in early 2011. I believe some of the other models around that time have a little bit more different things you can do with it without having to get professionals to look at it. So I'm going to show you just one quick upgrade, the RAM upgrade that you can do by yourself at home just by following along. So, like I just did, first things first, you flip it over, and then you have 10 screws. I believe these top 3 right here are of a different size, but if you get a small enough screw and you put it in the right place and push down hard so you don't strip anything, should be pretty easy getting this stuff out. And yeah, you can see that that's a little bit longer of a screw. Got some dead air right here, but figured it better to show you guys the step-by-step than pre-drilling this stuff out. And that way you can see how quickly this actually can be done. It doesn't take very long. I opened this thing up before I ordered the RAM just to kind of see what I was getting myself into, and if I wanted to actually install this myself, or if I wanted to send it off or get some other person to do it. And like I'm about to show you, it's actually a pretty simple project. And here's one of the smaller ones, so you can see the difference in the screw size. Alright, 4 down. Just while I'm kind of unscrewing this, a few other things that you should definitely consider when you're working on upgrading your MacBook Pros or any sort of desktop or computer. Make sure that your computer is turned off, obviously, and not plugged in anywhere while you're working on it. And also make sure that the area that you're working on has been dusted, that you don't have a bunch of dirt or grime or mess or water anywhere around that can ruin your day by spilling on it or dirtying up the insides of your computer when you have it open. So make sure you got a good surface and go slow if you haven't done much of this before. Alrighty, so got all 10 screws out. The next step is to take it here. So this is actually the spine of the laptop. This is where it opens, hinges outwards. So you grab it by this area and you kind of get a grip on it right there and pull up on it. And there is the inside of an early 2011 Apple MacBook Pro. Pretty simple. Hard drive, motherboard, RAM. There's the big thing. Big old battery. So now that we got the stuff off, next step is to disconnect the battery, because you don't want to be working on stuff. You don't want to be working on your computer when you have any sort of power running through it, or any ability for power to run through it. So what you do is you get some little sort of pry. Just got a plastic thing here. I might have to try something else if this doesn't work. And this right there is the connection for the battery to the rest of your components. So you just kind of get under it and then carefully lift it up. And then you can see where it plugs in. And then what I would recommend, just to make sure that it doesn't fall back on when you're working on it, is to put some sort of block in there. Make sure that nothing's going to happen. That should be fun. Alright. Battery's disconnected. So now you just got to go to the RAM. And you have these two little arms right here. Might be able to highlight those for you, but you have two arms. And you just push out on that, and it lifts right up. So you have two 2 gig cards that come stock. And then for this one, push out again, comes up, and then you just pull right out. Try to be careful, but RAM for the most part is decently resilient compared to maybe like a central processing unit or something else like that. Alrighty. Here are the two new ones. Two old ones. So this is two 2 gigabytes for a total of 4 gigs. And this is two 4 gigabyte cards for a total of 8 gigs. So you're going to wind up with double the RAM. Alright, here we go. It's kind of a sneaky little fit to get it to go in there. So you'll have slots, and it'll be really obvious where the pins fit. So the shorter set of pins goes on your right side if you're facing in this orientation, and then the longer pins go on the left side. It'll make perfect sense if you get into it. So you basically slide it in there like I just did, and then you push down. And it'll click, it'll lock in place, and you'll know that that went in right. Then you get the second one, same thing. Push it in, and then, oh, I feel like I should go a little further. Not totally happy with how that left side. There it is. There it is. So make sure it pushes all the way in. And it'll click really nicely if you've done it correctly. And that's it. Then you got it in. It's all clicked. Looks perfectly fine. The next step, of course, is to very carefully plug this back in. Reconnect your battery to the motherboard. And then close this thing back up. Just so I don't take a ton more time, I will actually finish that. You probably shouldn't flip it yourself, but I'm going to. And there you go. 8 gigabytes of RAM in your MacBook Pro, early 2011. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you find it helpful and that it guides you to upgrade your MacBook Pro as well. Maybe it'll keep you from having to buy a new one earlier. And actually, there are other options I might wind up looking into, like being able to install a solid-state hard drive in here as well. So if I get that, I'll definitely take a video and show you how to do it. Hope you enjoyed this. Saif signing off.